All right, so this is one of my very, very favorite plants that I have. And this, I learned the hard way last winter. Even though there's supposedly can be temp tolerant, this one particular plant decided it wasn't going to be, and it died back to about 3 or 4 growths. And so, but
How long it
when it
takes
died
to
back
grow?
to about 12 or so growing, I finally brought it in, but it continued to die and then finally held its own. And then in spring, I brought it back out. Now, this plant has, it's hard to count them because it's interesting because they tend to grow back to back so that they can have 2 different ways of of attracting things.
Who is
But
this?
this one is growing in clusters.
Yeah.
It's a very nice, this is a really unique lip, column lip.
Cute.
So this is called the blue pink variety. There's another color variety too, I think more reddish pink, but I love the violets, so I grabbed this one. It's
Ron, question. Why all violet they are calling like blue one? It's not blue one, right?
but there's, if you squint your eyes, you can see more blue in it.
You kidding me?
Yeah, there is bluishness to it, especially for an artist. See, it says pink and blue,
Yeah.
so it is blue, but you have to. Some people can't see color like others, so that's all I can say.
That's I am probably.
I'm intensely sensitive to color variation, so the smallest nuance. But this plant is from New Guinea.
From where?
New Guinea. It grows at I forget the exact elevation, but once you look at plants where they grow and see if it's 800 feet or below, it'll tend to be more on the warmer growing side, and 800 feet and above will be cool, too cold even. You see, these are incredible lips on these things, fiery red at the tips,
Yeah. I
with a
can see,
light,
yeah.
almost like a eye. I mean, they're definitely attractive.
Like a
And to
fire.
yeah, some kind of bug it's definitely going for specifically. I don't know what. I'm not that. But I mean, last year it did maybe 6 of these. It's got 5 times as many this year. And that I also repotted it. So it gave it a lot
How
more
long
room.
it is in your environment?
Here?
No, I mean.
Oh, 2 years now.
2 years.
This is second year.
Cool.
I got it from Equahenra, Ivan over there. I took a chance, bought it on my birthday, a gift to me.
When is your birthday?
September 24th,
Oh.
when we have Fascination Orchids here. So
I
that's
see.
when a lot of growers are like Ivan are in the area. There's new ones coming. You can see there just keeps pushing them. I don't know. You can't see the blue one though?
No,
Oh,
no,
wow.
I
I'm
can't.
sorry to
Sorry.
hear that.
Ah, I know. I have no glasses. I forgot my glasses. It's okay.
Anyway, when these are blooming the best is when our Orchid Society is not meeting. Then I don't get to show it off.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I don't know. I can't believe the timing on so many of these. When that's why some of the older growers, when they're able to bring plants every month because they have many more plants than I have. So this is a relative, well, sort of. It's an epi. This is a den. But the flowers to me are
Can I come close?
connected. They're similar.
It's not radicans, right? What is the variety?
It's Capricornu. It's also from Ecuador.
Right.
And this year they decided to put these, I guess they're called kikis, but I don't know. This is just an extra, different kind of stem than it usually blooms from. It's stronger. And we do see this. It'll bloom again in fall. This plant can bloom a couple times a year, which is great. I mean, so many of these plants, they bloom once and that's it. You don't see them for a year. This is Neophonetia. It's similar to this one. This one's a species as well, and this one is spiking. So actually, it's earlier this year. It's normally closer to October.
Oh, wow,
This-
it's huge.
This is the largest Neophonetia, a species. This is Amami Island. It's
see the
in.
name? Can you clean it?
Yeah. Neophonetia
Amami, right?
falcata,
Uh-huh.
Amami, but the full name is Amami Island. It comes from Amami Island in Japan. So fastest grower and will be the largest. I've had this also about 3 years now. I've had this the same amount of time. There's nothing wrong with it. That's just how large it grows. It's just called. It's another easy grower for Neophonetia lovers. Also temp tolerant. Anything out here is generally going to be temp tolerant. I love people who get into the Neos. They get into them for the entire plant, and this is presented a little closer to what a normal presentation would be on a mound of sphagnum moss, wrapped into a little mound.
But what
And
is it
then
inside?
if I was to really display this, I would put it in a really nice Japanese ceramic pot, and I would have this great presentation for
Can you do it-
aesthetics.
Can you do it by your own? Like
And-
a pot?
Huh?
Japanese style.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the root tips are really a big part of this particular group.
But is it empty inside the moss?
No,
No?
this one
just
actually it
100%
was
like-
growing in a pot, and instead of pulling it out of the pot and redoing it, I actually put it inside this pot and then stuffed sphagged all around. Eventually, that might haunt me because the sphagnum internally will eventually break down. We'll see. But I didn't want any setback. I just wanted it to keep growing, and I just used it as a experiment.
Got it.
This one actually, I learned a lesson. It doesn't. I love to water, but it doesn't love to be watered like I want it to be watered. It actually loves to go all the way to drying out. And so this particular, the year before, it didn't matter. It still produced blooms, which are beautiful. They're pink and white and very strong colored. The same coloration on the lips, on the spurs, and it didn't mind it last year. But this year, it's taking offense that I'm keeping it so moist. So it blasted one of its spikes already. So I took it. I took it serious, and now the last month or so, I've been allowing it to dry out completely before this. I just sit in a bucket of water and let it just soak for 10, 15 minutes, pull it out, put it on there, and wait until it dries. Depending on the weather, it could be, 5 days, a week, it depends.
Question: what is the best media for Neophonetia? What do you think?
They're usually always grown in the sphagnum moss.
What about this one?
Well,
on, Bob.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
They can grow. I know. Well, because this one grows so large, I mean, you know, you're going to need a lot of sphagnum moss. And what I wanted this one to be established, it's grown in rock and bark.
Mm-hmm.
You see the little rock
Yeah, I can
pieces.
see. Yeah.
All right. So
It's like lava.
I
right?
intended this one to live in here for many, many, many years. I didn't want to have to rip it all and replace the spag, and because the roots are growing all the way out. This is stuck to this board here. It's if I even move it, it's going to break.
I see.
So.
I should cut the board with it.
And that's another one of my growing principles is if I can at all, I will never move an orchid. Once I find a place that it's happy, it stays there, period. I find a way to work around it.
What about this smallest?
These kind,
Yeah.
I can put anywhere, you know.
Yeah,
But it takes a while sometimes to find out where they're really going to be the happiest. This one is unfortunately not. In about 2 days, this will be in full bloom,
Wow.
and you miss this, but you can see there's flowers beginning to show. This is a nodosa, and very famous, well-known.
Can I make a photo? I'd like to go.
So you can Google it for the flower. There's a wasp. I get a lot of wasps.
Huh.
I get a lot of wasps. They come. There's nectar in the backside here at the plant. It's still exuding, especially when they're in this stage in the bud. Right back here, it's sticky and nectar, and the wasps come and feed on the nectar. They don't cause
What
me any.
about this one? Where's this one?
This one's on its way out. You got the last flower basically here. It's still, you can at least make out the lip. And they're usually darker than this one in full force, but there's a lilac lip. This is Bractisans. It's also an encyclia, just like this. Encyclia Bractisans species. I like to grow species.
Why?
I don't know. I like to have another piece of
Nature?
something from another part of the world, you know, in my vicinity, just as it's growing somewhere else. And then the challenge is see if I can grow it. They're not as easy as growing the hybrids. I mean, the hybrids have their good points too, like I was talking about. Some of them, it depends what they're being bred for, you know. I appreciate all of them, but like this is a species too. This is Hancockii, Dendrobium, Hancockii. Beautiful yellow flower, sensational, yes, yellow. And these get really big,
Should we
like as
report
big
it?
as me. They
Yeah?
will get a huge plant. Yeah,
I see.
which is the same with that speciosum. Those are the ones that throw out these huge columns of like hundreds of flowers.
This one?
The
That one? Yeah,
speciosum.
that one, yeah.
This one will flush and cluster, you know, golden flowers everywhere. If you're lucky and you grow it right. I did get a couple flowers.
Can you
I
explain
bought
me?
this in February, and then I got a couple flowers early spring, and I felt like I was lucky. Next year, maybe I'll have